Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel and share this video with a couple of family members, friends, and colleagues. I appreciate the support. Wanted to talk a little bit about it. Welcome to Derry. This is a series on HBO Max right now. I believe it's 8 episodes. The finale is tonight, I do believe. I've watched at least 7 episodes of the show, and I'll be watching the finale very soon. But overall, I'm very happy with the show overall. It's consistently good work. There's been 2 other shows on HBO that I really do like, The Penguin and Duster. And I have this show sitting right under those shows, maybe even a tie with Duster at this point in time. We'll have to see how the finale presents itself. But overall, I'm very happy with this project. With it being set in the 1960s, I believe 1962, correct? It's a direct prequel to the events that you see in the It films that we got in the later 2010s era, right? So it's a prequel to those films. You have some tie-ins with other Stephen King projects, which I really like. Those are Easter eggs for anybody that's a fan of Stephen King's work, right? So if you're familiar, you have The Shining, Shawshank. You have tie-ins there with a couple of characters and references, which I really did like and thought was creatively done in this show. Not too heavy-handed with it, which is what I liked about it, right? So those tie-ins are really cool if you're familiar with the work. I think the fact that Bill Skarsgård came back to reprise his role as Pennywise is a really big, impactful part of the show. I thought he sinks right back into the role, probably his most notable role in his career. And Bill Skarsgård is a pretty good actor, and so I felt like that was a great addition to this show, and one that was very important to add to the believability of Pennywise's return on screen. I'd say the character development is decent. Obviously, this is a show, not a film, so you have more episodes to build out your characters. As I referenced before, may not referenced, the fact that you do have multiple characters, young and older, and this show really does bounce around quite a bit, but it's still well balanced even though you have this many characters, right? Which could lead into challenges when it comes to character development, because typically when you're developing character, you want to do between 1 and 2 or maybe even 3 at the top characters to really build them out and flesh them out as much as possible. But I feel like you're at least watching about 6 to 7, maybe even 8 characters in this show that play a significant part in this show. And their characters are developed in different parts of the show, right? Different pockets. And I think they did well with that. I believe Andy Muschietti did write this show as well. And that's another thing that I wanted to speak to. The fact that you have that consistency with the writer. He did both those It films, and now he's doing It Welcome to Derry. This is the consistency that you do see a lack of in Hollywood productions. This is why you have shows that don't really sync up with each other well. It seems like 2 different creatives made the show, and so it doesn't come together well. I feel like HBO did a really good job with getting the same people that worked on the It film to work on this show, and I feel like it really adds to the completion and the presentation of the show. So do have to give them kudos for that as well. Don't want to give away too many spoilers. There are some twists in the show that I really did like, some really cool visual effects and some scares out there that I thought were well put together in this show. Altogether, the show is really well done, like I've said multiple times. I have not watched that finale, but I am going to be watching the finale fairly soon. This week, I'm definitely going to try to make that happen. And like I said, I've watched every episode up until this point, and I'm pretty happy with the project. I advise that people watch this show. The only 2 shows that I'd say I have above this show right now, and not specifically an HBO thing, I don't have too much time to watch shows, so if I get pulled into watching a show, and it's a show that keeps my interest we're going into, I want to say 8 weeks for this show, so about 2 months, then it is a pretty good show and something that I'm going to tell people to watch. I'd say only The Penguin is above this show, and then the show that recently came out on HBO Max, it's not getting a 2nd season, but it's titled Duster. I thought that show was well done. And for reference, I gave The Penguin an 8.5 out of 10. That's for a TV show. I don't rate that the same as films, but an 85 out of 100. I gave Duster an 80 out of 100. I did a quick video on Duster. I didn't talk about the rest of the show afterwards, but I did finish that series. I gave that an 8 out of 10. I think when I first reported it on the channel, I was about 3 episodes in, but I was telling people to watch it then because it was good work up front. So with It Welcome to Derry, I'd give this easily a solid 75 out of 10, maybe even an 8 out of 10. Pretty good project overall, maybe a tie with Duster to be quite honest. And like I said, I think it's a show that people should watch. Definitely in the pocket of everything we've seen before. It expands on the lore, which is something that I really liked a lot. As I said, the show is shot well, the acting is well, everything is presented the way it needs to be, the lore is expanded upon in a correct way. Nothing that's too out of pocket, really, with this show. You have a lot of landmarks that you've seen in other films before, characters that they bring in that are going to be relevant in other stories that you've seen before, characters that are new that are relevant to the story now, and situations from different perspectives of characters that you haven't seen before that make you wonder, okay, I want to know more about this character. How does this play into this? How does this add to this? Because everything seems to be interconnected here. And when you do have those curiosity questions, at the end of the day, it makes the story more real for you as you're watching it. It's something that you really sink into, and you can believe in the world of what's going on in Derry at that point in time. And that's how I feel when I'm watching this show. What is the bigger picture that they are trying to present to us while we are watching this show? And I think overall it does a great job at doing that. And so, like I said, I recommend it. Welcome to Derry, ladies and gents. If you've seen the show, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the show. Obviously, if you finished it with the finale, I believe it is 8 episodes. Let me know what you thought about the finale and if it stuck the landing. I'll be watching that shortly, and I'll be speaking on that more than likely. But I definitely wanted to make this video just kind of reviewing what we've seen so far. Not so much the details, but how I felt about the show. And like I said, it's definitely a fall recommend for me as we go into the deep winter. Ladies and gents, subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you thought about this quick review of it. Welcome to Derry. Comment down below if you're watching the show and what you think about it. Do you like it where it's at? Do you think it could be better? I want to hear your thoughts on it. Ring the bell for notifications if you haven't, and be safe. It's Neff signing off.